Why should Asaase radio be denied the opportunity to broadcast? Why? Why will Wontumi be denied opportunity? Why is Wontumi suffering? Why is Wontumi suffering? Why is Wontumi suffering? What has Wontumi done? Mr. Speaker, you do not break it and pretend to be fixing it when it's not broken. You broke it. So if you are fixing, then you say we should commend you, we should be happy. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, clemency is a belated thing. It's because of the public backlash. I would want the NCA and the ministry to be
12th of June, which is NRA 2025, NRA Thursday, and NCA Edelete Battle Monty. I just say, Eshema, 62 radio stations, Oma collapsing in na 62 radio stations, Ukoma, Wontumi TV, any Asaase, Wontumi radio rather, any Asaase radio, Omo Eka Hubi. Nano Ama Afenyo Markins Ababedin Sebwe Hunkoma, what drop a bombshell be or hodom, Ediama, a minister for NCA, Mature Sam George, Sanso, and President John Dowona Mahama, and also agitated a womb.
The Honorable Sam George, MP for Ningo Pampram, in the 8th Parliament. Mr. Speaker, he spoke strongly against ministerial action in respect of such defaults. He was against any form of penalty. And Mr. Speaker, in his argument, he relied heavily on the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I adopt those views as though they were mine, to the extent that the Constitution makes certain broader provisions. And this is not to suggest that I am against the subsidiary laws enacted for the purposes of regulating these media houses as part of the checks and balances that are required or needed in every democracy. Mr. Speaker, democracy must be guided for the good of democracy itself. So I agree. But Mr. Speaker, in a situation where it becomes obvious that in the exercise of such discretion, there is a clear breach of Article 296, as my respected colleague, the former ambassador to South Africa and MP for Abrim just said, the intent must be looked at. And clearly, it comes without doubt that Article 296 has some questions for NCA and the ministry to answer. What we are seeing in respect of the statement from the presidency later this afternoon, a supposed clemency. Mr. Speaker, these are things that are done for the optics when the political system sees that there's a backlash. It is a very rich statement, very rich. And we take this supposed clemency with a pinch of salt. Mr. Speaker, we take this with a pinch of salt. That the NCA, together with the ministry, have embarked on a certain path, and now Mr. President, exercising his supervisory mandate, is now telling them that don't do it. Couldn't this have been discussed in-house prior to this decision? Well, Mr. Speaker, we have been in government before, so we can understand the situation the government finds itself. Mr. Speaker, I have heard certain views being expressed to the effect that, oh, yesterday we heard of similar actions by the executive. I recall that as a member of the appointment committee, the issue of the closure of some radio stations became a critical matter for us to even discuss at the appointment committee. And our friends opposite were very, very firm in their conviction. Mr. Speaker, you do not break it and pretend to be fixing it when it's not broken. You broke it. So if you are fixing, then you say we should commend you, we should be happy. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, clemency is a belated thing. It's because of the public backlash. I would want the NCA and the ministry to be
listening to the conversation of Afenyo Markins, President John Dowona Mahama, and after selecting about Montana, no, SRD and Sembeto Montana say, in fact, almost Emma these radio stations and almost grace period, 30 days, to be and find rectify a mistakes. After that, no, almost shut you down.
This was the respected colleague who was inviting us to uphold the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the gravamen of this submission was to the effect that the administrative body with regulatory powers was required by law to comply with certain provisions of the Constitution. And that is why he relied on the veritable words, we are vested with upholding the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, when authority is given by the Constitution, the same Constitution imposes an obligation on that authority. And I have said earlier that that limitation is clearly defined by Article 296. So clearly, I am saying that the respected Honorable Minister must not change his principles by virtue of his new position of honor. He fundamentally agrees that we must uphold the Constitution. And at the risk of being repetitive, the provisions in Article 162, as relied on supra, require of us not to impose any impediment. So if the regulation would impede press freedom, our duty as a house, as Honorable Sam George invited us to do, is to uphold the Constitution. It's our duty bona fide. So, Mr. Speaker, let's not justify in any way this attitude of shut down. If yesterday we were loud on the rooftops that it is not good to suspend or shut down, then today let us maintain the same principle and say that we would rather have an administrative engagement. Why should Asaase radio be denied the opportunity to broadcast? Why will Wontumi be denied opportunity? Why is Wontumi suffering? Why is Wontumi suffering? Why is Wontumi suffering? What has Wontumi done? What at all has Wontumi done? Mr. Speaker, if we say if we say we want to perfect our democracy, then we must be seen to be walking that talk towards perfecting our democracy. This business of it happened yesterday, so we must continue this vicious cycle. Mr. Speaker, it won't help any of us. Today, I will repeat what I've been saying since 7 January 2025, that this power of 187 is not permanent. We have seen 169 before, and we saw 137, 137. So let us all be guided and know that the power immediately you are given is like an ice block. It begins to melt. We should be guided so that when the power comes to us, we will remember to put in certain blocks that one day we will use it for equity in times of need. But if you have a member for Kwesi Mintim who now says in his submission that he is applauding the harsh measures, the punitive actions of a regulatory authority, which is contrary to constitution. If a lawyer from Kwesi Mintim and a member of this house argues that he finds no problem with an administrative authority vested with regulatory powers exceeding its mandate, let me, Mr. Speaker, as for Hansard,
Honorable Minority
it would
Leader.
always be a great
Honorable Minority
witness.
Leader.
So, Mr. Speaker,
Please operate within Order 91.4.
very well.
So,
Mr. Speaker, all that we are saying today will be referred to.
So that is a Afenyo Markins, a NSMO deliver on the floor of a parliament. No, they call Ediama President John Dramani Mahama. Sam George, Ewo Honum. Dowona TV. Chinawadwin, Ewo comment section.